Secrets of celebrities and athletes for incredible health, increased energy, and a youthful, slim body. Go to www.healthatlast.com. That's healthatlast.com.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. It is March 14, 2011. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. And I just want to thank you all for your well wishes and emails and such last week. I'm fine. I didn't catch some little bug or anything. It was my back. And to be honest with you, I was able to do a lot of research about it, and I came across Dr. John Sarno. And he's written a few books. I think his latest is The Divided Mind that I got to spend some time reading this week. And I guess I'm just sharing that with you because, you know, most, if not all, disease or illnesses are psychosomatic. And, you know, after coming across his work, it just kind of convinced me that since there was no reason for my back to lay me flat out like that, no physical reason anyways, it could have possibly come from unresolved emotions and issues that manifested physically and gave me a reason to lay in bed and rest and work that stuff out. So anyways, I am doing fine, and thank you all so much for joining us here again. It is Mango Man Mondays, kicking off the week. Coming up later this week, tomorrow night, we're going to go further into soul travel and alternate realities with E.A. Coedding. Wednesday night, we're going to talk about weapons of mass coercion with author and producer, activist, journalist Byron Belitzos. Thursday night is Tobias Lars, and Friday night, Shaman Avalon Shakti. We're going to talk about Kundalini awakening, what it is, how to get there, and what to do when it happens. But tonight, like I said, kicking it off with the Mango Man, Dr. Wayne Pickering. We are continuing his series that you can find at Health at Last. It is the How to Get Well, Then Stay Well for Life series, and we pretty much wrapped up nutrition last time, so we are moving on to water. And I have to apologize if you are familiar with the normal schedule he does it. It should have been exercise, but our last call last time about nutrition was about water, and so anyways, we're going into water this week. We're going to be talking about how the right kind of water can play a vital role in our staying well for life, how much is enough, what's the best kind to drink, and when to drink it, what to drink when you're flying and how much. What about well water, pure, clean rainwater, and is it really pure? Bottled water, spring water, water filters, boiling water, chlorinated water, mineral water. How do you know if you're drinking enough distilled water, and so much more. So hold that right there. We're going to be right back after this short break with Dr. Wayne Pickering on Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. If you would like to join us for the text chat tonight, that's over at TruthBrigade.com. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 402-237-2525. That's 402-AFR-2525. How important is water is our topic tonight with Dr. Wayne Pickering. It is Mango Man Mondays. HealthAtLast.com or DefeatingBadEating.com is the website. Thanks so much for joining us here again tonight, Dr. Wayne. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, but let me ask you this, darling. How are you doing? Because
I am doing great. You know, I kind of mentioned in the intro that I feel that, I came across that Dr. John Sarno in researching about what could have happened with my back because it didn't seem to have any physical origins. I'm wondering, have you heard of him?
No, I have not.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, one of his last books, one I got a hold of, is The Divided Mind, and he's been healing back pain for years, decades actually, by using an unconventional approach that entails no surgery, no drugs, and in fact getting at the root, which is usually, or what he's experienced in his practice, 99.9% of the time, emotional.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I knew there was really no reason for me to just be on the ground and, senior citizens picking me up again. But, I was able to get a hold of that book and stay in bed and rest my back and my mind, and I'm doing great. No pain today.
Well, let me tell you something about that. There is so much merit. I haven't heard of the man, but when you and I come back and do our series on living abundantly, we're going to bring the emotion portion of our life into the realm, and there is so much material there that I'm going to share with you, but and that's over and above our Beat Your Stress series. So when you hear all that's going, well, you know right now because you're experiencing it, which is a great blessing.
Yeah,
you see, you know it. Every one of us pay. We all pay. Everybody pays, and we pay to play, kind of a thing. And when we don't have our emotions intact, first of all, you stop the flow of great energy coming into your body in the form of your needs, in the form of your connection with your spiritual source, so much. So just get the emotions down. What is it? Don't worry about anything, because if you worry about it and it doesn't happen, then you've worried needlessly. But then if you worry about it and it does happen, then you've worried twice.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just even suppressing them and not allowing ourselves to feel them. And I have to admit, I'm extremely guilty of that. Sometimes I try to just pretend things aren't really happening and bottle it up and store it away, and of course we saw what happened with that. So obviously that's not the solution. But we're kind of going to talk about that in a show next week. How bottling these things up are just not. It's like a toxic waste dump. I think
yes.
We've discussed it here on the show, and you can put a lid on it or you can hide it, but eventually it is going to come to the surface. So,
well, Christie, I'm glad you're bringing that. Yeah, oh yes, I'm glad you're bringing that up.
They come.
Yeah, I'm glad you're bringing that up because I'll tell you, I guess it goes down to everything in our body that goes on in life focuses around two major areas, not in its entirety, but the bulk of it. Mm-hmm. Our thoughts and energy. Mm-hmm. Now, when our outgo of energy through hate, through bad intake of food, through many disgust, stress, unforgiveness, and we sap our energy because of that, when our outgo of energy exceeds our income, then our upkeep becomes our downfall.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, it really doesn't even, your emotions and thoughts, as you mentioned, are a major part of health. Because, we could take all of your information, Dr. Wayne. We could eat the right things, make the right stuff, eat the right time, eat the right combinations. But if we're not processing our emotions effectively or feeling them, then, all of that really doesn't matter. You're going to end up in bed anyway.
That's the truth. That's true. Here's a good line. This to me has helped me immeasurably over the years. We are a spirit with a body that enhouses it, governed by our minds, stimulated with emotion. Mm-hmm. And so everything is a thought and everything is energy. And so now that we know the energy, when our outgo of energy through hate, through all of that, unforgiveness and bad intake and all that, exceeds our income, then our upkeep through statin drugs, expensive doctor visits, psychiatric treatments and all that stuff, our upkeep becomes our downfall. So that's energy. Now let's go to the thought. There are 5, everything's a thought. This show you and I did was a thought one time when you and I first spoke. When my home here, it was a thought. The phone that I'm on was a thought. Everything is a thought. The car you drive, everything, clothes on your back. So everything's a thought. And there are 5 things which will govern our thoughts. And the first one, and I'm convinced it supersedes the other 4 by a long shot, is the people we associate with the most. We are the sum total of the 5 people we associate with the most. So that's the first of the 5 things that govern our thoughts. Here's the second one. What we read and watch. It's such a crying shame that people are so buried into the television that Americans right now, stats show us, that they're in front of a tube 4 to 6 hours every single day. Now, that's a bummer. Now, here's the problem with that, though, really. You figure 24 hours a day, and we're going to take the high end of that 6 hours, because I don't watch television, and so many of my clients don't even own one. I own one, but it's never been hooked up. I just hook my DVD player up to it and watch different things that I want to watch. So the point is, the average American watches, we'll say now, 6 across the board. Well, of 24 hours a day, that's 25% of your day. So if you're going to live to 80, that's 25% of your life that you're sitting in front of that tube. That's 20 years being programmed the way they want you to be programmed.
Yeah, or what about the computer or
well, that's what I'm saying, in front of a tube.
Oh, man.
Yeah, in front of that. Now, okay, so those are 2 things. Now, here's the 5. Yeah, what you read and watch, what you listen to, the words you speak, because those words get in. I tell everybody, stop saying, I want this, I want that, because your subconscious registers that, and it's always in that mode, I want, so you're always wanting. So what you need to do is change the vernacular, I enjoy, I now have, yada, yada, yada. So, first one, the company we keep, we cannot not be associated with the company we keep. Let's think of this for a second. Somebody in New York will come south, and they live down here for a year, and they go back up north, and they're seeing all their buddies, and they say, hey, man, you talk different. You know that, buddy? Or you dress like that? Boy, you eat different, you know. So we pick up habits, we pick up styles, we pick up mannerisms, we pick up voice, language, we pick up all that stuff. So we cannot not be influenced by the people we associate with the most. So the people we associate with the most, what we read and watch, what we listen to, the words we speak, and, of course, what we consume. Mm-hmm. Now, when we test, I shared this with you, but now this is going to come to light for us. I shared with us some time ago about the acid-alkaline balance. And the proper way to gauge your acid-alkaline balance is twofold. Your urine stems from the food you eat, and your saliva stems from your thoughts. Now, when we think of that hot piece of apple pie, our mouth just starts watering just at the thought of it. Mm-hmm. So our body is initiating that chemical reaction that begins digestion. Well, you've got to figure this. If a person's body chemistry goes into a change just from the thought, think of what kind of body chemistry our bodies go through with a negative thought. Mm-hmm. And prolonging it and all of that kind of thing. So everything is a thought and everything is energy. However, all these other components that we're bringing into play, the nutrition, the exercise, the water, the tenacity, the sunshine, all that, those have an integral part, but the emotions supersede them all. Mm-hmm. So I'm in total harmony with what you said. Hopefully I didn't deviate from our talk tonight.
Yeah, no, I think it's great, and I think it's important because, everyone was wondering, and hey, we all make mistakes, and I think it's important to just kind of put it out there, and hopefully people can learn through my mistakes, and laying myself up and hopefully not do that to themselves. I just want to ask you this, though, before we start with water, because you mentioned our body, our mind, and spirit. Where does the heart come into play in this?
Good question. That's part of the spirit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, excellent. Let's. All right. Tonight we're talking about water, and I can hear Louis now. He makes fun of me because I use the D sound. So we're talking about water tonight and how it plays a vital role in staying well for life and what kind and how much and when and all that good stuff. So let's just start off. How important is water to getting well and staying well for life? Good
one. Christie, without water, our bodies would be reduced just to a couple pounds of dust, because over 70% of our body is water. Mm-hmm. Now, too many people are too confused. They think they have to drink water. Well, we're going to discover here in just a little while at how to go about the intake of fluid in your body. But our bones, they're 25% water. Our muscles that drive our life are 75% water. The brain is almost 80% water. The blood that carries our nutrients, that's 85% water. The lungs that breathe life into our body, that's 90% water. In fact, water makes up more than 70% of our bodies. And these basic facts, I'm convinced, of biochemistry, Christie, make one thing really clear. One of the most important things in our life when it comes to intake should be the water we drink. Now, I tell clients, don't be drinking so much water, as it waterlogs your tissues and your organs, and then you defeat the purpose of drinking water for good health. So, all water is not created equal. We know that.
Yeah,
all right. So, here's the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. They just report that over 1 million people a year get sick from waterborne microorganisms.
At least, probably.
Oh, absolutely, but that's their deal. Now, according to noted Dr. Alan E. Bannock, the water you drink can cause all these other deals: arthritis, kidney stones, gallstones, hardening the arteries, clogged hearts, enlarged hearts, emphysema, obesity. And then here's Dr. Andrew Wild, MD, author of the 2 best-selling books, 8 Weeks to Optimum Health and Spontaneous Healing. Here's what he has to say. Drinking water is one of the major sources of environmental toxins. According to recent reports, I'm reading this little thing from him. According to recent reports, drinking water in the U.S. is increasingly becoming a health risk, whether you live in a big city or a rural area, and more than 100 million Americans drink water that contains significant levels of 3 cancer-causing chemicals: arsenic, radon, and chlorine.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's not forget fluoride, lead, cadmium. I mean, I think all major cities just about now have that in their waters. And
yes.
Check that. Just to give you an idea, you can go to whatever your county or city website and search for your water quality report, and they'll tell you what's in there. I mean, they may not admit to all of it, but even the minuscule amounts that they're putting in there, according to their own statistics and reports, cause damage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm glad you to say that. You see, when here's another thing. A person needs to picture themselves on the desert, for example, with nothing to eat or drink. How long would you last? 10 days, 20 days, a month? You could last 45 days without food very easily, but you'd be lucky if you lasted 10 days without water.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever stopped in the middle of the day and realized that it's been hours since you had a drink and then you're thirsty? Well, you are, and by that time, your brain thirst center wakes up and you're already 3 to 5% low. when you are thirsty. So if you don't replace it, then your body begins to shut down. So we need the water. Did you know that your blood needs water in such a way that if it doesn't get it, then it takes it from your salivary glands?
Oh, yeah.
And when we come back, I got so much to share with you.
Yeah, isn't it true that by the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated? We'll answer that when we come back. It's that time, so stay tuned, everyone. Be right back. Dr. Wayne Pickering on Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining us tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com, talking about water and how important it is to good health. Dr. Wayne Pickering is our special guest, and his websites are healthatlast.com or defeatingbadEating.com. And if you have any questions or comments for Dr. Wayne tonight, please feel free to give us a call at 402-237-2525. And if you'd like to join us on the text chat, that's over at TruthBrigade.com. And Dr. Wayne, there's lots of comments about different types of water and what we can do. But let me ask you this, because you mentioned dehydration. Isn't it true that by the time our body feels thirst, or damn, I'm thirsty, we're already partially dehydrated?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You see, as I was mentioning, your body's going to get water, whether we like it or not. It's going to get it because that's your survival right there. You see, you've got a hypothalamus, and that's the part of our brain that regulates pretty much all of our bodily functions. It kicks in when your body is low on water, and it'll get it from somewhere. Now, if you want to fight aging, water feeds and cleans your cells. It's constantly moving in and out of your cells. It dissolves nutrients. It delivers them wherever they need to go, and they carry waste out the body. We need to have good water. If you're suffering from constipation, water softens the stool so you can pass more easily. And if you ever get that heartburn or anything like that, it's a fact of life for so many. I'm amazed at how many people suffer from heartburn, man. I mean, they come to us, goodness sake. Acid reflux, heartburn, and indigestion are totally wiped out of people's lives when they come to us and get our programs. So,
and you know what, Dr. Wayne, I just want to interject right here, is because we were talking about earlier how emotions affect your health, that we create those acids and stuff in our body not only by not eating right, but with those toxic emotions once again.
Well, now that's true. Remember what I was mentioning, that we test our acid-alkaline balance through our thoughts and through our food. And then what we do is we take both of the numbers, and we divide them in two, and that gives us our proper acid-alkaline balance. It's known right now, by the way, that if you watch comedy, your immune system goes up. When you listen to doom and gloom, and when you watch negative shows and all that stuff on television, your immune system goes down. We know that as fact. So one of the reasons I applaud you for bringing messages like this aboard, because it's actually creating a good thing in people's lives and gives them more ammunition to go through life free of disease. There's nothing to support, not a thing to support that you and I are in this world to be either sick, fat, miserable, or broke. It's not spiritual to be poor. You're here to have abundance. And too many people get hung up on the doom and gloom, and it just disgusts me because they're hearing more about it now because of the advent of so many different medias now. But that stuff's been around for years, man, years. And I have so many programs on all the Illuminati stuff and the One World Government and the World Council of Foreign Relations and the Masonic Lodge. I mean, all that stuff. It's been around for hundreds of years. Get over it. Get on with life.
Yeah, now we need to do what we can do. And, we can't change them. We can change ourselves.
Thank you.
We can make better choices to be healthy.
Thank you. And that's true. Now, here's another thing, darling. If a person has diabetes, if they've got their blood pressure up, if their heart disease is, you need to let your body heal itself. I wrote a little line. We just finished a brand new ebook. It's called The Perfect Mini Diet. And in there, I made a statement. I said, never treat it. No, you cheat it when you treat it. You cheat it when you cheat it when you defeat it. Don't treat it as you cheat it when you. Here it is. Don't cheat it when you treat it. Beat it. And it's something like that. I forgot the exact verb.
When you treat it. Well, that makes sense because when we, you said acid reflux or whatever it is, or say even back pain, what I just went through, we have a tendency to run to a doctor and then take a drug, which is going to suppress our immune system and make us even less healthy. So I guess we're definitely cheating ourselves when we, try to use something to mask the symptom.
Thank you. Appease the condition, like. So there's so many. If you've got arthritis, if you've got gout, if you've got any one of those things, man, water's going to help you immeasurably. And gallstones, kidney stones, all that stuff. So when you're listening to this series and start implementing some of this, we have over 5 billion powerful brain cells, which over 70% of that is water. So we definitely need water. I mean, if we want to get well and stay well for life, in our section there on getting well, I tell my clients, I'm not allowed to recommend the truth to you, but I'll tell you what I can do. I mean, I'll tell you what I do because I can do anything I want with my health. Nobody's in charge of me except me. Mm-hmm. And so I fast, and I go to sleep, and I drink water for days, and I eat nothing. And I could not get I had a Doberman for 10 years. I could not get that dog to eat. I don't care how much good stuff I would put out there. If it was a great big chunk of beef that he would love, he wouldn't touch it. So instinctively, our bodies just know how to get well, but yet we're blinded with the cloud of confusion when 25% of our lives are being programmed by the way they want us programmed for I call it entrepreneurial mayhem at its apex. Mm. Talk to me now. Mm-hmm. All right, so water's important for health.
Yeah. And, we hear that all the time, and I just want to bring up an article that Raymond Francis from BeyondHealth.com put out just a couple days ago, actually, how drinking lots of water can ruin your health.
Thank you.
The great fluoride fraud. And that's the problem because, people will say, drink the recommended 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, and, of course, they don't tell you how big the glasses are or how much you need for your body size, weight, condition, etc. And then they also don't tell you, well, if it's fluoridated water, you can ruin your health, increasing your risk of hypothyroidism, immune system dysfunction, arthritis, and many other diseases, including cancer, bone issues, fibromyalgia, etc. So, I guess it's very important to know or to be getting the right kind of water. So let me ask you this, Dr. Wayne. There's several different types of water, each with different characteristics that can affect your health. So let's talk about the different kinds of water people drink and what we need to look out for with each of them.
Alrighty. Well, there are several kinds. Let's just discuss right now the hard water. That's the greatest enemy of them all, hard water.
Okay.
Hard water is any water that's run through the ground and has been allowed to pick up all the inorganic minerals and all those other contaminants and the toxic and the waste and everything from the poultry industry, from the cattle industry, from the garbage industry. Water is nature's universal solvent, and it picks up a little of everything it touches. And the number one industry here in Central Florida has been agriculture for over 100 years. Now, you just imagine when I travel, I like to take the back roads. I'll get off the main highway there and get into some of the other 17 going down south and 301 and all the little highways at 27, and you really get to see the back. Man, you would be surprised. Christie, number one industry in Florida, tourism. Number two industry, citrus. Number three industry, sugar cane. Number four industry, this will blow your mind, horses.
Wow.
And Florida is known to be the world's exporter, or excuse me, not the, I know North America's exporter of cattle.
Wow.
Florida exports more cattle than any other state. Now, that's not saying that it has more cattle. It just gets, it exports more cattle. So that's a huge, huge industry. And so when I'm going down south, you would be shocked at the agricultural devastation with the wastes and stuff they do. I mean, it's awful. And so we just have to imagine the volumes and volumes of pesticides and fertilizers and fungicides. And here it is. What is it? Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides are all suicides. Mm-hmm. Now, hard water contains excessive sulfates of calcium and magnesium. I mean, it also has sodium, iron, copper, silicone, all these hard minerals, man. Your body, that's why people get arthritic pains. That's why they get sore in their back, their neck, to this, to that. It's important now. Let's clarify the difference between organic and inorganic. Your body needs minerals, but only in an organic form. And I want us to get a hold of this right now so that when we move on, you're going to understand that drinking 8 glasses of water a day, it's just like using sunscreens. It's all lies.
Mm-hmm.
When we come back and do
getting the right kind of water.
Correct. but still, all that much water we don't need to be drinking. And we'll be talking about that as we go here, because I got so much I want to share with you. This is actually one of my favorite portions of this whole series on water. So anyway, your body needs minerals, but only in an organic form, and minerals collected from the air or the ground are all inorganic and cannot, will not ever be assimilated into the body unless they're chelated into organic, as like in the case of food, through photosynthesis, do you see? So basically, all water taken from the ground is considered hard water. You take a look inside your kettle, that same crud that's in there is building up in your bones and in your arteries, and if you're drinking regular water, watch out. And if you're drinking an average of a gallon a day, you'll consume 450 glasses of solid material in your life. So the most important thing you can do when you're going to consume fluid, stay away from hard water. And by the way, and all that garbage drinks they buy. I mean, these energy drinks and crap you buy in the store.
Or bottle, pretty much.
What's that?
Anything in a can or bottle.
Oh, boy. Pretty much. So stay away from hard water.
Okay. Well, what about soft water?
Okay. Water taken from reservoirs, rivers, and lakes, it's often referred to as soft water, although it's only soft in that it is less hard than the underground water. So both soft and hard water contains millions and millions of these viruses, the bacteria, the protozoa, and you've got to figure this cryptosporidia. What in the world is that? That's a disease caused by a parasite. And as late as 1976, it wasn't even known to cause disease in humans until 1993, when over 400,000 people in Milwaukee, Wisconsin got so sick with diarrhea and dehydrated themselves into a near-death situation. And few people have ever heard of this cryptosporidias. So
you're talking to one of them here.
It's a good one. So you got to figure, since that Milwaukee outbreak, the safety of our drinking water, there's been a lot of concern in our country about that. I mean, and it's increased dramatically. And now attention has been focused on whether or not how it's going to reduce, like this cryptosporidia, from community and municipal water supplies. And last thing about soft water, the EPA right now estimates that almost 170 million people are partially at risk from these waterborne cryptosporidium, and it causes these flu-like symptoms that lead to, 1 to 3 weeks that last, Okay, we're going to come back for a break, and we'll...
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. Wayne. Hold that right there. Yes, we will finish this up when we return from this short break. Stay tuned, everyone. Dr. Wayne Pickering, healthatlast.com. Stay tuned. Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com with Dr. Wayne Pickering tonight, talking about water and how important it is to play a vital role in staying well for life. Dr. Wayne, if you would please continue. I think you were finishing up on soft water.
Yes, I actually think I finished my thought.
Yeah, okay, all right. You were talking about the different bacterias and
yes.
Water. Okay, so let me ask you this. There were some comments in the text chat about rainwater. You know, a lot of people talk about the virtues of clean rainwater. So how good is it for us, really?
Well, I got to tell you, Christie, the only time I really, really appreciated rainwater was when I was in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. The water over there was just flat nasty. It was nasty, nasty, nasty. And we never ever got to take freshwater showers over there. It was always salt water. And so wow. Yeah, exactly. You try to lather up in salt water. Mm-hmm. And you try to get clean, and you itch, and you're just miserable all day long. So when the monsoons came in, you would see anywhere from 500 to 1,000 guys stark naked out there in under these like metal roofs, you know, where the water would come down, and it was such a pleasure to have a freshwater shower. So that's the only time I really, really appreciated rainwater. Now, that was a big eye-opener for me, taking, a freshwater shower. You know, we take things for granted in our great country, and I realize we've got some corruptness in this country. We really do. But we've got some greatness still going on in this country, man. To flush a toilet, what a deal. To turn a light switch on, awesome. To listen, hey, to get on the phone and speak with you, this is wonderful. So you'd be surprised. Now, rainwater is often thought of as really pure because it's been distilled by the heat of the sun, but only until it falls down from the sky. And then what happens is it picks up all this bacteria, the chemicals, the pollutants, the smoke, the minerals, and by the time the rainwater reaches the earth, it's in fact loaded with pollution. The same holds true for snow and frozen rain. It attracts just as much pollution as non-freezing rain, and while that pristine snow may look pure, it's really not. So rainwater, that's not a choice either.
Well, wouldn't that be better than what we find in our tap?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, all right. But you're saying it's probably not good to just drink without at least filtering or something first.
Something, yes.
Okay,
either boil it or something.
And we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that something a little bit later. So let me ask you this about bottled water. I know many people think, oh, well, I'm fine because, you know, I just go by Dasani or some other, you know, bottled tap water brand by some major soda corporation.
You're so true.
About bottled water, please.
It's true what you're saying. It's true because these companies, who'd ever thought that you and I would ever get on the stage, Christie, and talk about, hey, Christie, let's start selling water 30 years ago? Well, you'd have laughed.
Yeah. When
we come back and do the interview series, or the interview itself in the series on air, who'd ever thought that companies would be making millions and millions and millions of dollars every single month selling air?
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. Okay, so let's go back to bottled water. Most people think that the FDA, God bless our FDA, right, regulates, I'm sorry, I get deviating there sometimes, regulates the bottled water industry. But in fact, they don't. Why? Because most bottled water is just tap water run through these minimal conditioning filters to make it taste better. That's the deal. That's why right now there's over 500 bottled water brands, because it is nothing more than money. It's profitable. Yeah. So bottled water, and I could talk to you for hours about it, but we're going to get into some really good stuff. We're giving you the doom and gloom now, but boy, we're going to come back here in just a little bit and show you what you can do.
Mm-hmm. And some things, I guess, you can look for when you are purchasing bottled water. If it says anywhere on it from the municipality of, well, that, you can be sure that you are getting bottled tap water. And another thing, just a simple thing to look for, if it has a list of ingredients,
yes,
stay away. And I noticed that, I guess it was probably 3 years ago or something, I went in to get, I was at a big box store. I honestly don't remember because it was when I first moved here. And I used to get bottled water, and it didn't have any ingredients on it, and I was sure to make sure that it didn't say it was from a municipal source. And then one day I went in, it was a bit, I think it was something like, you know what? I don't want to say it. I don't want to say the brand because I'm honestly not positive. But I picked it up and it had ingredients on it, and some of them you can't pronounce. And of course, we've talked about what that means in previous shows. But yeah, just a quick thing to look for. If your bottled water has ingredients other than water, probably stay away.
Yes.
But when we come back, Dr. Wayne, we can talk about spring water and water filters. So it is that time, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll see at the top of the second hour how important is water with Dr. Wayne Pickering tonight. HealthAtLast.com. Stay tuned. Truth Brigade Radio. Welcome back. Top of the second hour here tonight with Dr. Wayne Pickering talking about water tonight. And we just have a few short minutes this segment, Dr. Wayne. So tell us, what about spring water?
Okay. You see, brand labels spring water, they don't really have to be from a spring unless they are part of a brand name of the company.
Oh, so you're saying that they could bottle, say, some municipal water and just name it some lovely spring water and to trick us into thinking it's from a spring, and it may not really be?
That's exactly right.
Wow.
Now, so if the name of the company is like, say, XYZ Springs Company, they can call that all day long. So you can put a name on a company and it could be spring water. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's deceiving.
Well,
how
can we tell if it really is from a spring then?
Well, let's do this. Although you should know there's nothing magical or clean about spring water, some of the purest looking natural spring water in the world has enough arsenic in there to kill you outright. Perhaps you remember when in the early 90s, bottled water giant Perrier was forced to recall 72 million bottles of its quote-unquote spring water because it was so contaminated with benzene and it was getting so many people sick. Now, there's a lot of things, you can do about your water, but I'm going to say this blatantly. Stay away from hard water, soft water, rainwater, spring water, bottled water.
Do you mean all bottled water?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go.
All right. Okay, well, let's talk about water filters.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It seems to me, you can go to the grocery store, whatever big box store, and they have all these different filters. People spend $20 or $30, and they think their water's safe all of a sudden. And then, I use a Berkey water filter myself. Thankfully, I have a well, and use that in addition to that. But can you talk to us about filters? Are they kind of a false sense of security?
All right. Okay. Many people think that a filter purifies the water. That's simply not true. What it does do is it makes it less harmful, but it doesn't purify the water. You pour, I'm going to qualify that. You pour through pitchers, like say, you put them on the counter or under-counter filters at best.
Yeah.
All they merely do is reduce some contaminants. There is no filter made, in my experience, that can prevent bacteria or viruses from getting through. Worse still is the debris that gets trapped in there, because a lot of people think they got a filter. They have to change it once a year. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. So, so it begins to become a fertile breeding ground for all that other harmful bacteria, just like mosquitoes and swampland, only, let's say, right at the mouth of your drinking water. So, it's better than drinking the straight crap from the tap.
Yeah.
But to go ahead and rely totally on a water filter, you're doing yourself a disservice.
That's such a bummer to hear, Dr. Wayne. I mean, and I say that because we had a water engineer on the show, probably over 3 years ago, and he said this, that he basically said no water filters work, and that once you have some of these, like small fluoride molecules and such in the water, that it's impossible or nearly impossible to get it out. But maybe you can give us some insight on that when we return. It is that time again, so stay tuned. Be right back. Dr. Wayne Pickering on Truth Brigade Radio. Joining us here tonight, Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. If you would like to join us for the text chat tonight, that's over at TruthBrigade.com. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 402-237-2525. That's 402-AFR-2525. How important is water in regards to staying well for life is the topic tonight with Dr. Wayne Pickering, the Mango Man, mangomanblog.com, or you can go to healthatlast.com to find out more about this series, more in-depth information about water, food combining, and all the things we have covered in the previous excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat for a minute on the previous shows here. But continuing on with water and filters, let me ask you this. I know we've talked about some kind of like survival and camping shows, and people have suggested to bring water and coffee filters and kind of clean whatever water you're getting from the spring or wherever you happen to be camping to clean it. Is that a myth as well?
No, I would say this, that all that does is a little temporary fix. And you might get away with a little bit of that, but you're still getting an awful lot of garbage in your body that way. I'm going to show you what you can do. A lot of people even think boiling water is a thing.
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask you that, because we hear that all the time. If you suspect something's gotten in the water, boil it first. So let's talk about that.
Okay. Boiling water may seem like it's the answer, but actually it isn't.
Uh-oh.
That's a shame, but it is.
Bad news.
Yeah. See, boiled water does kill bacteria. There's no doubt about it. But you still consume all that dead bacteria into your body when you drink the water.
Oh,
so
okay.
What are we going to do, you wonder?
Boiling it alone isn't complete.
What's that?
So maybe just boiling it alone is not a complete method.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, is there really such a thing as pure water anymore? Or, I mean, is it just fiction?
Good one. Well, the fact is there's really no such thing naturally anymore as pure water outside of just your fruits and vegetable juices, of course, that you don't have to manipulate. In nature, all water contains some impurities, and that, in my experience, has been the big problem. Everybody thinks they have to drink 8 glasses of water a day. If it's 12, if it's 16, if it's 8-ounce glasses, whatever. That's just simply not true.
Yeah,
now,
I mean, because it all depends on your body shape, size, exercise, and physicality and such as well, right?
Well, that's a component, yes.
I mean, a 4-year-old or even a 14-year-old, 100 pounds, drinking, say, 8 to 10 glasses of water. And once again, they don't tell you how big those glasses are, but let's just say a standard kitchen glass is probably 12 ounces.
Uh-huh.
They're probably going to get waterlogged.
It's true.
As opposed to someone 200 pounds or exercising or running marathons, I mean, that might not even be enough for them.
Uh-huh. Well, let me tell you, that's very true. But you see, there is one form of water that's safe and free of contaminants and will revitalize your health. Wow. And all of this, I know, sounds pretty scary so far, but there is hope.
Okay, well, tell us what this one kind of water is. So I'm tired of the bad news. Let's move on to the good news.
Yes, well, I like what Dr. Melvin Belts, here's a man who spent 23 years on the vascular team and another 15 years as an orthopedic surgeon. Now he's in his 80s. And he travels and he's 80 plus years young. I think he's 86 or 87 years young, and travels the country, speaks all about the subject of preventive health versus correction. He gave up all that stuff. Here's what he says, and I'm going to give you a lot of different support material, but this is just one physician here. Distilled is your best. And here's another thing. People say distilled water leaches minerals from your body. Get a grip. It doesn't do that. Now, here's what Dr. Melvin Belts had to say. He said, distilled water doesn't take minerals out of your body. That's all lies. Your kidneys do that. Now, here is a man that was on the medical team for, golly, almost 40 years, man, and gave all that up and said, there isn't a medicine, he said, that isn't a poison. There's never been a drug that was ever invented that healed anybody. These are famous medical physicians telling us this.
Yes.
There are some that may halt a disease process, he says, but they never heal. And he goes on to say, our total lifestyle is the cause of all of the diseases that he used to say with a gleam in his eye. I never forgot him. And he put his fingers up like, quote, unquote, that's going around. He said, the more you live like the world, the more you're going to die like the world. Now, without our kidneys, we would have to drink, think of this, Christie, 40,000 glasses of water every single day.
Wow.
Talk to me. I mean, this is one of the nice things about the colon area of the body. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And water does not give you energy, by the way, but it keeps you from getting tired.
Yeah.
Now, since our bodies are composed mostly of water, the type of water that we consume has a profound influence on our health. And it's not the copper or the lead in the water that bothers me so much. It's the rats and the dead animals. That bothers me. Now, here's an interesting fact. This is a miracle about the human body, about drinking that 40,000 glasses of water a day just to keep going without our kidneys. Think of this. We have a recycling system in our colon that when the food is passed through the ileocecal valve, now what's that? You have your small intestines where the food is absorbed into the bloodstream. Then you have your large intestines, basically is the colon. Well, what allows the food from the small intestines to finally get into the large intestines is this sphincter. We'll call it a valve. It's the ileocecal valve. And it acts like a check valve that will allow it to open and let that food go in to the cecum part of your colon. And by that time, it's 95% water. But it has this check valve, it's your sphincter, ileocecal valve, that doesn't allow it to go back in to the small intestines, to where any toxic waste from the colon could be absorbed back into the bloodstream. One of those beautiful things. Now the pancreas, not the pancreas, but the appendix, does a couple things. It is part of the immune system, and it's also a part of a gland there that helps to make your colon agitate and move and move and move and squeeze that food up to the top because it's now the ascending colon. So the food has to go up and then over across the transverse colon and down into the descending colon into the sigmoid. Now, what does all that mean? Okay, by the time the food gets past that ileocecal valve, it's 95% water. By the time it leaves your rectum, it's about 2%. So without that recycling system, you would have to drink 25 gallons of water every day just for that.
Wow. So
we need water. And what we need to be thinking about is this. There are many reasons for water and for good clean water to our living ripe old age when, to keep our... Now, according to a lot of doctors, many noted doctors, distilled water can add years to your life. Distilled water is 99.5% free of all contaminants. Mm-hmm. It is water in its purest form. It's odorless. It's colorless. And best of all, it's tasteless. And for any time you taste your water, by the way, here's what the fact that you're tasting. You're actually tasting the pollution in it, not the water. So distilled water acts as a solvent in your body, dissolving many of the toxic minerals. And it's these inorganic minerals that cause all these problems we're having in our body. So keep in mind that the purpose of water is to clean your body of waste and regulate your body temperature, and you should only drink the purest water available to do that. So, in short, distilled water is the only safe, and by the way, you'll see all these big, expensive water machines that add minerals to this and claim that. And you know what they all start with? Distilled water. They'll add this to it.
I'm glad you said that because I recommend distilled water as well. But let me ask you this. Do you know how they distill water anyways?
Oh, gosh, yes.
All right. Well, I'd love to hear it.
Well, let me finish just a couple little thoughts here because I do I want to really talk about how they do it. But, you see, it's your life and it's your health. We've got to take responsibility for the water, and the only possible way for you to get the best water in your system is through a home distiller. Now, I like what Dr. Alan Bank, he asked this question. He said, it's not what price we pay for not drinking. He said, how did that go? Oh, yeah. It's not because of distilled water is it the best to drink. Obviously it is, he says. He said the bigger question is, what price do we pay for not drinking distilled water?
Yeah.
What price do we pay? Now, here's something else. When you drink mineral spring or well water, your cells become saturated with these inorganic minerals they can't use. And over time, they build up in the bones, the tissue, the joints, the glands, the circulatory system. They build up the kidney stones, gallstones, arthritis, heart disease. You figured bound up by cholesterol and fat in the arteries. All these inorganic minerals form this thick concrete plaque that causes hardening of the arteries. And we know right now there is no known cure for hardening of the arteries. And here's an interesting thing, Christie. It's a funny thing that when you go to your doctor, they often ask you if you drink alcohol, you smoke tobacco, you eat specific food types, but never ask you what kind of water you drink. That's a hoot. And notice all those network marketing companies that sell those water machines, they all start with distilled water to begin with. It's amazing. And now, let's think about this, because I want to show you how they do distill water. That was a great question.
And maybe we can make our own distiller at home.
Maybe. And the body can only use organic minerals. That's the deal. And it will never, ever, ever use inorganic minerals in any form. It's physiologically impossible for our bodies to use inorganic minerals. It never could, it never did, and it never will. And anybody who has any knowledge about chemistry of the body knows that as a fact. You cannot get any more, you couldn't possibly use, let me put it this way, inorganic minerals than your car can run on Coca-Cola. It's just never going to happen. Mm-hmm. So we get the organic minerals from the plant kingdom, that's it. fruit and vegetables. And since our body is made up of at least 70% water, we need to be getting that amount of water in our bodies from fruit and vegetables, and then you can drink what you need to in good distilled water. That's the formula.
Okay.
So now, what happens during the photosynthesis process? The plants, actually, I tell people, listen, you refute that? Why don't you just do this? Why don't you reach down in the soil and get yourself a handful of dirt? It's got minerals, but they haven't been converted to the organic minerals for human consumption this way. So that's the deal with that. Now, you cannot use inorganic minerals. Now, here's what happens. Here's how that photosynthesis works. The plant takes in the water, the carbon dioxide, and all these other chemicals from the earth, or elements, I should say. And it also takes in sunlight through its chlorophyll. And with this process, it's known as photosynthesis. It makes all these substances into carbohydrates and stuff, do you see? Now, as the plant matures, the minerals from the earth become organic, and finally the minerals can be used in the body. Now, here are the plants we're talking about. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, sprouted seeds, few grains, and the two best sources of water, in my opinion, chemically pure water that is pure hydrogen and oxygen, first and foremost, is the juices of fruits and vegetables, and then distilled water made from the steam process. And there's only two kinds of chemicals, organic and inorganic. So let's answer your question now. I'm sorry I went a long way around it. How do they distill water? Now, there are a lot of people, Christie, in the healing arts who suggest it all the time. I mean, here's all it is. It's water that's been turned into steam, so the impurities are left behind. The steam is condensed to make pure water. It's pure water, virtually free of all contaminants. It's purer than water comes from carbon filters or reverse osmosis. It tastes, clean. It's a thirst quencher. It leaves no residue in the body. And when you buy it, I did this one time. I know that when we used to buy water, they used to come in those great big heavy glass bottles. Remember that? 5 gallons. I kept 6 of those.
Oh, good for you.
I've still got 6 of them. Now, one of them has got all my coins in it that I throw coins in, do you see? But I've still got 5 left that I put distilled water in. So, distillation is the only process which extracts pure water from contaminated water. It's recommended by physicians for people who have kidney stones, and it's recommended by physicians and nutritionists for people who are on low-sodium diets. Veterinarians recommend it for their family, their pets, their pedigrees, chiropractors, science teachers, pharmacists, opticians, I mean, everything. This is not something new. So the only process that boils the water and converts it into steam is distilled water. Hence, it kills the bacteria, the viruses, and the parasites. So, if you get into good distilled water, and how do you get it? Well, there are a lot of companies. If you want to email me, I know Pure Water out there in, I think that's in Nebraska. Good company. I've known those people for years, and I've got one of their distillers. They're great. And they're not cheap, but neither is a kidney stone operation.
Well, I just put a link to how to make your own home distiller in the text chat over at TruthBrigade.com, and it really doesn't look that difficult. So, I mean, if you have the money to buy a big, beautiful, already made one, great. But if, say, you only have like $30 or $40,
do that.
Maybe you can try this. I'm going to post this link in the text chat again, but we're going to be right back to continue this. It is that time, so stay tuned, everyone. Be right back. Dr. Wayne Pickering on Truth Brigade Radio. Welcome back. Raising a little hell tonight here with Dr. Wayne Pickering on Truth Brigade Radio. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 402-237 2525. And if you'd like to join us on the text chat, that's over at TruthBrigade.com. I posted that link again, and then a little do-it-yourself-at-home video. And, Dr. Wayne, I'd like to talk about some of the strong benefits who were kind of sitting on the edge about drinking distilled water. As you mentioned, some of the hype earlier that people, oh, no, stay away from distilled water. But first, let me ask you this. Do you have any sources for if people want to buy their own water distiller?
Yes. Pure Water out of Lincoln, Nebraska. I spoke to their annual convention one time, and you'll have to look them up online for that. I should have that as a source for you, but I'm remiss there. But
I'm sorry, what was the name again?
Pure Water.
Pure Water
Incorporated.
Is the company name.
And I think it's in Nebraska.
Okay, Pure Water Incorporated. I'll do a little search.
And mention that I went ahead and suggested that you contact them, and that'll open the door for you.
Okay, so, all right, Nebraska. Looking that up right now.
And would you please also send me that link to that home-spun distiller? That would be great to know.
Okay.
How to make your own home distiller? That'd be great.
All right, and I found that link, Dr. Wayne. It's purewaterinc.com, so I'm posting that in the chat here. As somebody on the chat is asking what you think about the Ecolo Blue unit.
Oh, I can't say. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I don't know either. Okay. All right.
There are so many of those things, but you said about the benefits to the listener if they're sitting on the edge. Well, let me tell you this. Pure distilled water, I should say, helps transport all these substances throughout of our body. And the actual function of water in our bodies is hurting, so to speak, or is impaired. Let me put it more technical. When the water is filled with contaminants that interfere with its ability to dissolve bodily functions effectively, do you see? Mm-hmm. So the first benefit is that. The second one is this. It helps keep our body chemistry regulated and functioning properly. That's a biggie. And
because it's not interfering with any of the abilities without having any of the toxins in it.
Exactly. And pure distilled water helps clean the body of waste materials. And and it also helps to keep our body cool, of course. I got a couple other ones here. And it makes our food and drinks taste so much better. And
it actually tastes pure. I mean,
yes.
So, and I just want to share what happened with me when I started drinking distilled water, and this was a couple years ago. I was still healing, from when I was in a wheelchair for my paralysis, and I switched to distilled water and put, a few drops of food grade H2O2 in it, and I'm telling you, I felt a change immediately. I had more energy, literally overnight, and that, extra nagging pain when you're healing from injuries, I swear, just went away overnight.
It really does. Mm-hmm. It really, really does. You see, we don't consume any harmful substance when we drink pure distilled water. Chlorine, which is a bummer, has been added to our tap water, may be one of the most dangerous chemicals consumed by man, or mankind, I should say. And research studies indicate that chlorine combines with organic substances found in tap water to produce chlorinated hydrocarbons. And all these diseases that people are having that's rampant today, hardening of the arteries, heart attacks, strokes, cancer, we got to put good stuff. When it comes to food, if you want to be tough, you got to eat good stuff. This is not a garbage dump with a hairy lid.
Yeah.
This is our corporate. This is our corporate headquarters, everybody. This is all we got. Mm-hmm. And too many times, people are sitting there watching that boob tube, which is a disease tube, it's not a boob tube, and they're programmed pathetically. Now, you work, Ada, when you watch television, let me go off on a tangent here. When you watch television, You have no sense of communication. You're not learning any skills. None of that stuff. And so when we're being programmed, and of course they've got good programs on there. Exactly they do. Just to keep you there in your chair, your sofa, getting a fat butt, eating junk, selling you something here every 12 to 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so if we can think about this is a wonderful thing that we have here, this human body. And the nice thing about it is nobody can tell you what you can do with it. That's your choice. You can pursue any type of healing you want. You can pursue the intake of food you want. Most of the time when people get sick, it's a result of laziness. They don't want to put the effort forth to, and I mean, I'm a very loving guy, so I don't want to sound as holier than thou. But the point is, it's our choice.
Yeah.
And we can put good stuff in our bodies, man. And I don't associate with people who smoke, who drink booze, who eat junk, obesity. I forget about it. Because we are the sum total of the 5 people we associate with on a regular basis. So I don't associate with people that use foul language. I don't want to hear that garbage going into my mind. So I'm very selective. And one of the reasons I love doing the interviews because I don't have to be involved with different people's attitudes when I'm in a studio with about 10 other people.
This is true.
You know? So...
Okay, let me ask you this.
So let me just finish that real quick. So we're in total charge is what I was saying with that. That's where I was going with that whole thought. I'm sorry if I deviate.
Yeah.
We are in charge.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I just wanted to ask, because you mentioned chlorine.
Oh, yeah.
Chlorination. And I'm just wondering, I mean, what's the big deal? We stick it in our pools, right? It must be good for us.
Yeah. Yes. Well, do you know what is interesting? Here in Florida, it's a rage, and there's a lot of my friends have them. They don't have, they have pools. They have their lap pools in their backyards, but it's salt water. Saltwater pools. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's quite big here.
Okay.
Not because the Atlantic Ocean's at the other end of my street.
You mean the whole pool in their backyard is filled with salt water?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And none of that garbage. Now, there are 2 common treatments of water to call it, quote-unquote, purification. Chlorination, which is an outright blatant lie, and fluoridation. Now, I know you're got a soft spot there to speak about fluoridation, and I'm real anxious to hear your views, too. But from the American Journal of Public Health, chlorinated water causes more than 10,000 rectal cancers and bladder cancer every single year in this country. Now, chlorine...
Of course, they're not going to associate it to that. They'll just say, oh, it was smoking or, something like that. Or it's some virus that we need to vaccinate you for.
Oh, it's so, people, come on, everybody, please. You're not going to get... people think they catch the stuff or my allergies are kicking up. No.
Yeah.
That's all lies. It's like this baby aspirin garbage. That's all bunk. Well, what do you mean, allergies? I get allergies every spring. No. Your body goes through an intense cleaning at that time.
Yeah.
And all the pollen that aggravates your body, that your body has lost its ability to resist because of the poor eating habits and the poor health habits, bad thoughts, bad water, bad air, bad food, no fitness, sitting on your butts watching, not everybody on the audience, but people that sit on their butts all night eating popcorn and jelly beans and watching soda. TV.
I like popcorn.
Whoops. But you see, chlorine reacts with other chemicals in the water to form these, they call it chloroforms. And many other these carcinogens, those are cancer-causing compounds. Here's the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, already knows chlorine causes cancer. Maybe cause. No, they know it causes cancer. And when we were in Vietnam, and the chlorine was a lethal gas, man. They killed people by the thousands. And it seems, well, you got to figure this. The EPA already knows chlorine causes cancer, but their feelings that preventing typhoid outweighs the cancer risk.
Yeah, but I mean, in the process, because I guess the chemicals that it breaks down to are the compounds, I guess organochlorides or something.
Yes.
They don't. I guess are stored in the fatty tissues of your body, so like your breast or mother's milk, blood and semen, etc. So it probably might have something to do with. I mean, it can affect our children or our ability to even have children in the first place.
Well, very true. Very true. Now you think about chlorine, as I started to mention a minute ago, that it is. We killed all of, not all, but a great deal of our enemies. I mean, it's outright nasty. It burns up the insides of your body, and some of them who were in the war, who were exposed to it, they've got a lifetime of problems ever since. It's much like the Agent Orange that so many of the guys that had. So if you're drinking chlorinated water, that's a stupid act. And you're not a stupid person because you're listening to the Truth Brigade Radio here. So you cannot be stupid and tune in and stay listening to this kind of information all this time.
Yeah, you know now. So
thank you very much.
I know, like asthma and stuff, because that was something I grew up with as a child. It also, it's been documented to aggravate asthma and other respiratory issues. And another big one, I think, that we should note is the intestinal flora, the friendly bacteria that help in the digestion of food we talked about in previous shows. Chlorinated water completely destroys that.
Exactly.
So, you end up with like acne or psoriasis or eczema and, all of these other little issues that we've brought up in previous shows.
Yeah, and many, many other things, but those are just a few. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so don't drink chlorinated water, people. I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about fluoride.
Okay.
We've kind of scratched the surface, but let's touch base on the issue of fluoride in our drinking water.
Now, you see, Christie, one of the things that I really like about what you've done is you brought several guests on your show that talk about this, and I'm sure that one of the guests, before I ever was aware of your show, I'm sure that you probably brought this up, but let's bring it all back to light and it'll all be cohesive.
Definitely.
Do you know that there's not one dental support evidence or scientific research that supports fluoridation helps save teeth? That's all a marketing scam.
Yeah, in fact, it causes the exact opposite.
Thank you.
Dental fluorosis.
It's amazing. Now, the National Research Council, the NRC, they concluded that the current standard for fluoride in drinking water is outright dangerous. Mm-hmm. And the most highly refined epidemiological study of water fluoridation and bone cancer was conducted, I should say, at the Harvard University of Dental Medicine. They found that young boys reared on fluoridated water have a 5-fold increased risk of developing bone cancer. Mm. And as a result of this National Research Council study, the two leading proponents of water fluoridation in the United States, the Center for Disease Control and the American Dental Association, have already conceded that kids should never be given fluoride. Ever.
Yeah. Chemist Charles E. Perkins said that any person who drinks artificially fluorinated water for a period of 1 year or more will never again be the same person mentally or physically.
Wow.
And that's pretty scary. I mean, because even in 1922, fluoride had already been proven to decrease your IQ. But it is that time, Dr. Wayne, so hold that right there. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. And, there's so much to cover here about this fluoride and such, but we just have a few short minutes left, and we have a caller on the line, Dr. Wayne. So area code 574, welcome to the show.
Hi, I believe I called a little bit early. Listening to your show, I'm sorry. The time zone thing confused me. I was just trying to call for the berry and the candy.
Oh, okay, all right, Barry Cooper. Okay, well, he's coming up. He's coming up next, so about 10 minutes. So stay tuned.
I'm sorry, the time zone thing confused me.
I understand. You must be in Arizona.
I'm in Indiana. Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, well, thanks so much for calling in.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right. Dr. Wayne, the things I mentioned, I just think it's so important to talk about this because, we can kind of sum it up in a couple words here. Fluoride is a chemical weapon known as sarin nerve gas. So, if you can justify drinking a chemical weapon, go for it. But, the truth is, early puberty, depression, suppression of multiple hormones, even diabetes, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, bone cancer, arthritis, of course, suppression of the thyroid function, and so much more. And to top it off, okay, say we're drinking fluoridated and chlorinated water and start to get a little sick or chronic fatigue or maybe even a little depression. We go to the doctor, and then what do they give us?
More pills.
Psychiatric medication like Prozac or something else, with the main ingredient being what? Fluoride, more chemical explosive. So it's the exact antithesis of what we need to be doing. So, I don't know if you have some things to wrap it up, how dangerous fluoride is, but the IQ thing and the works of chemist Charles Perkins and many others, it's pretty frightening just to think.
It's pathetic.
We don't even know who we would be without it at this point in time. And I just want to mention, you said earlier that over 100 million people are affected by chemicals in their water here in the U.S., but I would say it is much, much higher because it's already added to over 2/3 of the tap water in the U.S.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. Well, here's something.
200 million.
Well, could be, yes. I always try to give the low figure.
Yeah.
Because that's publicized news. But what you're saying is very true. Now, here's Dr. Robert Mick of Laurel Springs, New Jersey. He offered $100,000 to anybody that can prove that fluoridation of water was healthy. Nobody could. And fluoridation not only hardens teeth, it hardens arteries, it hardens your brain. And for your information, I know you know this is true, but for people who are listening, it's exactly the same compound that's used in rat poisoning.
Yeah, exactly. And, I would even extend what you just said. It hardens the arteries and hardens I'm sorry, what else did you say? Hardens the
brain.
The arteries, the brain, and I would extend it to it also hardens the heart.
Oh, very much, absolutely. Now, I wonder how many people really know what fluoride really is. First of all, if you look it up in the dictionary as to what sodium fluoride really is, you'll see that it is poison. And if it's supposed to tell me this, if it's supposed to prevent tooth decay, then why do we have more tooth decay now than ever?
Exactly.
It's much like the dairy industry when they say that we get calcium from milk. Well, if it's the panacea to our calcium dilemma in this country, then why is it that if we consume more milk than the rest of the world combined, are we still the world's sufferers of calcium deficiencies, osteoporosis, nervous disorder, teeth problems, countless others? So what we want to do, how much time do we have?
We have 2 minutes left.
Okay, let's do this because I do want to come back and maybe we could finish off on this because I do have quite a bit of stuff I wanted to share about the fluoride. But sodium fluoride is a rat poison. They etch glass with it, and they kill all kinds of rodents with it. It's in all kinds of insecticides, fungicides, germicides, cockroach powders, fire extinguishers. They use it in dyes, plastic, and pharmaceutical. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think that's something I want to put into my body. And we
should have a choice. I mean, for those who really think it's good because of their programming or whatever, I mean, just to force that on us, I think is horrible. That's no different than court-ordered psychiatric medication.
Thank you very much. But when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about the fluoride, because there's some things that I want to bring to the table here that maybe haven't been addressed, but I pulled some great things together for us.
Awesome.
Okay?
Definitely, yeah. I can never talk too much about this. And really, I mean, that's another thing that happened when I got fluoride and these other chemicals. I mean, just stop drinking tap water. My health just tremendously improved. And I have to say, without it, I don't know if I would be walking today if I hadn't made those changes. So, oh, goodness. It's that time. I hear the music, Dr. Wayne. I want to thank you so very much for sharing your time and wisdom with us tonight. We will continue the discussion on water and pick up on fluoride next Monday. Mango Man is here every Monday night, Mango Man Mondays. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. Abundant blessings and love to all. Stay tuned. Barry Cooper coming up next. We will see you tomorrow night.